when Tissot announced that they were going to be making an ice blue dial version of their PRX Powermatic 80, I sold my green dial Powermatic 80 in hopes that I would get the ice blue Powermatic 80. I did that. I sold my PRX. It's gone. It's out of my collection. I no longer have it. And then came along the Christopher Ward the 12, and that was a better version of the PRX with the same ice blue dial. But today on my wrist, what I have is the Ice Blue Dial Tissot PRX. Is it worth it? Do I regret this? Should I have gotten the Christopher Ward? I don't know. Let's talk about it. So I just barely got home from a trip to Arizona visiting my uncle, as well as we went to the Morgan Wallen concert. And we went to the mall there, and in the mall they had a jewelry store called Hyde Park Jewelers. And I went in because in Utah here, we don't have a single Grand Seiko authorized dealer. There is one under construction, but it's not out yet. And so up to that point, I had never even had my hands on a Grand Seiko. And I've wanted to for a while. I'm currently obsessed with the SBGA 413. I think they nickname it like the Cherry Blossom or whatever. And I'm also, the one I'm most obsessed with is the Omiwatari. I think it's the SBGY 007. Those are the two that I loved. And so I went there and I got my hands on with them and held them and looked at them with my own eyes and my own hands. And let me tell you, Grand Seiko is not messing around. I took a video on my phone, and I've probably put it in already, but if not, I'll put it in again, of the dial on the SBGA 413. The camera does not do not even 1% justice to how detailed and textured and reflective and shiny that dial is. It's like you're looking at a photo of a diamond and they blur the photo. Whereas if you look at a diamond in real life, you can see all like the little light reflections and the rainbowy, sparkly stuff. You can see all that with your own eyes. Grand Seiko dials are like diamonds. A video blurs what it looks like in actuality, and you need to see it with your eyes in the light to get just a glimpse of all of the insane textures and just the pristine dials that Grand Seiko makes. And then I also held the Omiwatari, which is the one that if I'm gonna get a Grand Seiko, that's probably the one I'm gonna get. But I also really like the 413, and I'm kind of undecided as to which one I'll get. But I really like that one as well. Held that one, put it on my wrist. The size is perfect. It's so thin and so elegant. I think it'd be the most clean, awesome dress watch. But after I took my stop in there and I looked through those stores, I went over into the Macy's, because I know that Macy's is usually a retailer of like brands like Tissot, Seiko, sometimes Hamilton, like Bulova, stuff like that. And I saw that they had Tissot, and so I'm like, oh, let's go see what they have. I walk in, first thing that catches my eyes, this beauty right here, the Blue Dial PRX Ice Blue. I have wanted this watch ever since it came out. I am a pretty big fan of the PRX. I have like my opinions on the PRX, but overall I'm a big fan of it, and I've been wanting this ever since it came out. And so that was a couple months ago, and I've wanted it since then. And when I saw this, I kind of impulsively just decided that I needed it. The way that they get you is if there's only one of them left, meaning this is the last one, I am a sucker for that, and I almost always fall for it, and that was the case for this one. But I've had it on my wrist for a couple days now, and so that's why I'm making this video, just to give my thoughts on the Ice Blue PRX, if it's any better than the other PRXs, if it feels different, if it's worth the money, if it's good. And I don't have the Christopher Ward to compare it to, but I do really also kind of plan on getting the 36mm version of that watch. So I don't really feel like I need to go into all the dimensions of this watch, like the case size, the thickness, all that. If you really want to know about that, I would say watch like Teddy Baldessar's video. He is the best at like specs and just information. But I'm just gonna give you my thoughts in my own words after owning this watch. It is just another PRX. Yes, the dial is gorgeous. It's like a blue mixed with a silver and a white, and it's kind of like a pearlescent of all those colors. Depending on the angle of how you have your watch and how the light is hitting it. In some angles, like right now, I'm seeing blue. Right here, I'm like seeing silver, and then right here, it's like a bluish white mixture. So it kind of depends on the angle of the light to where the dial color will catch. But the dial color is very, very, very clean, and it goes with a lot of outfits, especially if you have stuff with like a lot of blues, like I'm wearing today, for example. The case size is 40mm, which is, I would say, a pretty average, just like standard like size. I wouldn't say it's a big watch, I wouldn't say it's a small watch. It's kind of like that in between, just like standard size. But as of recently, I'm kind of starting to lean towards liking smaller watches. I want to get more watches that are in that 36 millimeter mark, because I think the integrated bracelet kind of makes this watch look a little bit bigger and feel a little bit bigger than it is. And I just have really small wrists, and I like the way that a smaller watch looks in proportion to my small wrist. The movement on the inside is, of course, the Powermatic 80, which, if I remember off the top of my head, it is the ETA C07.111 movement. I'm a little bit weird in OCD, and I like things in a very certain way. And one of those things that I dislike is 3 hertz. I don't know what it is about a smaller beat rate on a nicer looking watch, but it just kind of throws off the watch, in my opinion. I have a Hamilton that also has the same movement essentially, but without the date, and I like how the 3 hertz looks on a field watch. On a field watch, I think 3 hertz looks really good. That slow tick on a field watch, for some reason to me, just feels right. But when I have something like a PRX or something that's like on a bracelet, it looks a little bit more nice, like you could wear it dressy. It's not like made for bashing necessarily. I want to have 4 hertz, or at the very least like 3.5, kind of like my Omega. I just think 3 hertz looks a little bit like it's lagging and it's just slower, and something with my brain and my weirdness that just bugs me. It's not like a gripe on the watch, it's just like my personal opinion is I would rather have 40 hours of power reserve and 4 hertz rather than having 80 hours of power reserve and 3 hertz. It's just my opinion. But on the wrist, this watch just sits really flat and is really slim, and it honestly just looks really, really good. And this color is just such a nice blue color that is so clean. And like, I just find myself just staring at the blue and looking at it in the light. My suggestion to you, after being one who's owned it and who's owned other PRXs, if you're really set on buying one, go on eBay, look for someone that is selling it, but make sure they're doing it on a bid. My friend today, he missed out on it unfortunately, but we were both watching this one, and it ended at $550 for this, and it came with 2 other straps. My opinion, just go try to find it on eBay on a bid and get it really low. That's kind of my secret hack for getting watches at a good deal. eBay bids. Really cool watch, really clean. New addition to my collection. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.